What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry DeRon. I got both of my co-hosts back on the line. I got my man, Jay. What's good, bro?
Not much, man. Glad to be back on. Was off last week, handled some business. But if you haven't, want to remind you, you can follow us on TikTok at Ho to Husband Podcast as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. All right, see.
Also got my man, SD. What's good with you?
Man, chilling, ready to get this episode on the road. Ready to talk about these topics here. But I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for keeping the background audio fresh. And I want to remind everybody to donate to the Ho to Husband Podcast on Cash App and PayPal.
I want to remind everybody, y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the core94.com. Tonight's episode is titled Stay in Your Lane. And we're going to be having a discussion about masculinity and femininity and how both are needed to have a healthy relationship. But y'all know how we do it around here, man. We like to start things off by discussing stuff we've seen go viral or things that have been trending. So we got a couple interesting topics this week. The first video is a video that went viral where a woman's talking about her regret in divorcing her husband. Let's take a listen.
I divorced my husband because I was making a certain amount of money. I divorced my husband because I thought I didn't need him anymore. I divorced my husband because I had this senior position at work and thought I held the same position at home. I divorced my husband because I thought I was better than him because I had my degree now. I divorced my husband because I thought a successful marriage meant I was here and he was down here. That is not success. That's fucking sickness. I found myself divorced and out there looking for love in all the wrong places, fucking this one and that one and that one and that one and this one and that one, and my body count going up and my value going down. I'm just gonna call it like a TI is. All the while, my husband done found somebody else building a relationship and building a life with them. I should have stayed married to my husband.
Oh, man, it's very rare to see a woman taking this much accountability for her dating decisions. A lot of times, whenever a woman's talking about her past relationships, she was the victim and took advantage of her, blah, blah, blah. But this, I think what she described accounts for a lot of the reasons that 90% of Black women with degrees file for divorce. Because they get this mentality that I can do better than you, you're not on my level, and they look for a guy that, what's it called, hypergamy, where they're always looking to upgrade their spouse or whatnot.
Yeah. Look, man, you remember the violin? I don't want to hear the violins, man, and all that. Oh, don't play, you know what I mean? The victim, and maybe she's not playing the victim. She's taking accountability, but still, I don't feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for her, man. You made your bed, you got to lay in it. But this is what we see time and time again, especially in our community. Like you mentioned, 90% is a 90% divorce filing rate for women with a college degree. Because like she said in her speech, I started making more money and I felt like I didn't need him. A lot of our women that make money feel like they don't need their men because they only see the value of us through our wallets. They don't see the value of our security. They don't see the value of our discipline and guidance for kids, structure throughout the house. Logical decision making, they don't see that as value. They only see what can you bring into this. Not all of them at all. Let me clarify that. For some of the women, a lot of them that are married, they only see the value in his wallet. And once they start to out earn you, they no longer see value in you. Now everything you do irritates them. Man, he got to breathe on every breath. Oh God, I ain't gotta put up with this. I can do bad by myself because they starting to make money and don't recognize the real value of a man within the household.
What do you think, Jay?
No doubt, but you know what? This is the disposition of a lot of women who are married, especially like you said, the ones with degrees, where they think they can do better than what they currently have at home. So they're constantly searching for the next best thing, which it doesn't work like that. Another problem I see is clearly she didn't know how to use discernment and separate her job from her household. She brought the job home with her, which ultimately ruined her marriage here. And at least she committed to it. You know, I'll give her that. I mean, credit where credit is due there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because when you're talking to a woman that's still in that age or that phase where they making those dating decisions, they'll argue with you tooth and nail about how they can do what they want, how can't nobody tell them what to do, how they a boss bitch, and all this type of stuff. So it's real difficult to try to help women avoid this situation that this woman's describing, where you still capable of getting all the dick you want, but it's obviously not the stable, committed relationship that you're looking for. But she said one thing that really stood out to me when she started talking about how her husband had moved on and found another woman. That drives them crazy because a lot of women really seem to think that, you notice whenever they talking about their ex, they the best he ever had and they the best pussy he ever had. And they have this, they have this perception of themselves that usually doesn't align with what the guys that dated them think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's 10 times worse now. She got to be up in her 50s at least, right? But now, so I don't think she's probably that active on social media to make a move like that. And she didn't say how old she was when she actually divorced him. But think about it now. Think about it today with the boom of social media and attention that these here women get.
A lot of them won't ever even make it to divorce. You know what I'm saying? They don't even get married to begin with. So a lot of them won't even have that problem.
Why you think that is? Because what a lot of women don't understand is that most men don't want to marry boss chicks. We don't want to marry boss chicks that have this boss chick attitude and alpha woman type of attitude. It's unpleasant to deal with. It is combative. It's aggressive. And it's going to give us more headache than it is peace. But we'll take them to Pound Town all day. They don't have a problem getting dick. Like, they have no problem getting dick. They got a problem getting the ring. That's the issue. And it's because most men that they want, the alpha male type men that have their lives in order, do not want to deal with a boss.
That's not what he's going to pick.
No. And it's
but to them, they intimidated. They intimidated by her.
Real quick. It's not the fact that you're a boss. I want to clarify that. It's not the fact that you were actually a boss or got a good job or any of that. It's the attitude that the men don't want to deal with that typically comes with women who make a lot of money or nice money, especially more than they man.
Right. Terry, quick question for you. Like, your wife, you know, she has a degree, makes good money, right? Have you ever dealt with a problem like this with her? Or was it always just, you know, you always had the household?
Nah, my wife grew up, was raised, you know, her vision of relationships and all that was structured by her grandmother. So she had a feminine perspective where she respected me to make the final decision. Now, there are a lot of stuff that I don't care about. So I delegate a bunch of, you can choose whatever, as long as it's within this, it's less than this amount or stuff like that. Because I just don't care about certain stuff. But major decisions, major purchases, you know, things like that, I always have the last say because, like he mentioned, I'm there to be the logical, long-term thinker, and I make the most sacrifices. You know what I mean? Like whenever it's a situation where we was doing bad or struggling, I'm the one that made sure that my wife and daughter were good. So I've never had that situation, even though my wife has made more than me. Well, technically, her base salary is more than mine. You know what I mean? But I have different streams of income. So I think overall, I'll probably bring in more than her. But our base salary, she makes more than me. But it's not an issue. You know what I mean? I always thought money was a problem when you didn't have it. But a woman's attitude with having money can kill a relationship real quick.
Good perspective.
Yeah, and y'all been married for how long now?
June will be 19 years.
19 years. We talking early 2000, something like that, maybe
2004. Yeah.
before the real
2004.
boom social media like that. And plus, you know, you say she had a different view on relationships, so she had a balanced upbringing and things like that. That all plays a part in it. Now we dealing with more women that's raised by single moms. You know, that's just in the house with a mom that's telling them, hey, get your own thing, don't depend on no man, and all these other things. So it's this here stat. I want to read it to y'all real quick. It say women are more likely to get divorced after being promoted. Divorce rates jump by 50% when the wife earns more than the husband. It jumps by 50% when the wife earns more than the husband, because a lot of women, like I said, they don't see the value in a man if he's making less than them. Women have to look up to their man. You know what I'm saying? In some type of way, they have to look up to him and admire their man in order to respect him as a man. And if all they view you as is a wallet, then once you lose that, they lose that respect for you because they don't see your value in any other way. So for the men out there, you know, choosing the right woman is so important.
Crucial.
That's why.
But this is what you should be figuring out when you dating, though. Like a lot of people be kicking it for months and years and don't learn how a person really views, you know, their spouse or money and things. Like that's why I couldn't be with a chick that's real materialistic. Like that in itself, it would be a constant conflict with me because that's not what my life is about. That's not what my value system in beholds. You know what I mean? So I could smash a chick that's materialistic, but I could never seriously date her or be in a relationship with her.
Put them Louis slippers right on the side of my head. Like, yo, what's up? Put them Louis slippers right there. Hey, man, but you could tell certain things, man. Pay attention to how these women talk. Pay attention to how they carry themselves. Pay attention to what they post on social media. All of these things give you clues into who they really are. Because just like men, we kind of hide certain things. Men will hide certain things to have sex with a woman. A lot of women will hide certain things to try to get a ring from a man, who they really are and how they really think in order to get a ring. And then you don't know it until it's too late. Dig into these women's lives, man, and actually listen to what they say and how they talk about themselves and their friends and these different celebrities out here. If they think Sierra can just be naked, that's okay, because she's a boss chick. Okay, get rid of her because she likes this boss chick type of attitude and way of moving around like she can do whatever she wants. Man, you have to pay attention to and it's the same for women too, paying attention to men and the different things that men do. But right now we talking about this particular video.
And Steve, just kind of piggyback just real quick. I think what happens with a lot of men see this stuff, especially she cute. Men tend to be willfully ignorant to those things and just kind of ignore it. And fellas, don't ignore the signs there. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, beauty and good sex. So, man, guys overlook a lot. Let's keep things rolling, man. Now, this next post was on the Harley Initiated podcast with Six the Goddess, where she was giving her thoughts on monogamy and its origin. Let's take a listen.
Monogamy was invented by men. Men need monogamy.
Because they wanted to, was it because the average man wanted to have a beautiful woman?
No.
Why was it?
No. Monogamy is necessary because if you say we're going to develop a polygamous community, well, what happen is what the women will do, because women, we are genetically wired to want to procreate with the biggest, strongest, richest man. This is embedded in us. It's nothing anyone could play God to say that I'm not like that. Yes, you are, sis. God made you that way. And it's for a reason. It's how you keep the human race going. Not all men are meant to be carried on. Some are meant to die out in their lifetime.
All right. What she's saying is pretty interesting. And I think it plays itself out in the single world. You know, a lot of women complain about it or whatnot because casual sex is not what most women want long term. And in these situations, we see that a large percentage of women are sleeping with a very small percentage of men. So it relates back to what she said, that the cream of the crop are going to be the ones smashing all the chicks. And there are lots of studies that talk about how the average guy or the below average guys are not having sex and not really dating.
Nope. I think they say 80% of women are attracted to the top 20% of men. And those men, you better believe, like she said, out of either the biggest, strongest, nicest looking, financially stable, charismatic, humor, personality, swag, all those type of things. And most women go after them. That's how those men can be hoes. And most of them are hoes or former hoes, right? And you got this whole 80% of men under here that's struggling. 50% of them ain't getting nothing. They can't even sniff the coochie. They can't sniff no lady.
Damn, man, it's so crazy seeing them numbers, bro.
Did you see the study that just came out the other day? Said 63% of men 30 and under are single and are at home watching porn to beat off and don't have no women, don't have no woman. 63%.
That's
under 30.
crazy,
That's a huge
bro.
number, man. But it also said that the women are in more relationships than the men. How is that? Because they sharing the same dudes. That's how. They sharing the same men. That top 20% of men are getting all the women, and these here women think, yeah, I'm in a relationship with him. I'm in a relationship too, because they feel it's involved, man, a situationship, and they feel like they're in a relationship. Come on, man. This is what it is. So they polygamists don't even know it.
Yeah, but you know what resonates? It's almost like the survival of the fittest here, right? So just especially as far as procreate, the best of the best get to procreate, and the rest of them die off, as she said at the end of her video. But here's another thing with the body, you know, when it comes to the top, let's just say 5 to 1%, a lot of them would rather be that dude's side chick than to be, you know, the bottom 50%'s main chick.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of women, like you said, they either unwillingly or unadmittingly participate in polygamy, because when you're single and you a dude that keep it real and you honest with chicks, like, man, I'm single, I can do what I want. There are a lot of chicks that are still gonna fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know you smashing other chicks, they know what it is, and they are still going to kick it with you. A lot of times because they hope that they can be the prize and you end up choosing her over the other women. And a lot of them, it's just very enjoyable to date you. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that puts a guy in a position to be a hoe. Being cool to hang out with, being cool to go and come around. Those are usually the guys that end up with panties on the living room floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you create the environment that leads to sex. And we talk about it constantly. It's a skill. It's something that you can get better with the more you do it. And so by the time a guy goes from 14, 15 through his 20s, shooting his shot, having conversations, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, they experts at it by the time they're in their 30s and they actually get in the bag.
He is a whole phase expert. Because that's how he lives his life. It ain't no different than being a doctor or something. You know what I'm saying? When you go to school all these years, man, hey, man, you the professional. You the expert in your field. It's the same thing, man, of studying and doing all this stuff so you can get all of these here women. But he said the biggest, strongest men get to procreate a lot. We see that within our communities, man. Like we had talked about, and I like stats, like I said before. 54% of black men don't have kids. 35% are married. That's 89% of black men. But we have a single mother. We have a single mother out of wedlock rate at like 70%. That leaves 11% of black men that make most of the babies out here. Give or take a percent or two. Let's say 15%, making most of the out of wedlock kids, because 54% don't even have kids. 35% are married.
Sleeping with the same dudes.
That's how you got guys in the hood.
And there are a lot of dudes that are just totally cool with making babies if they don't take care of. That's the part that, like, there's nothing you can do about it. But to me, if women can learn to identify quality men, that should make them more equipped to avoid those type of men.
No, man. They can identify quality men. They just don't want quality men. It's a difference. They can identify these here dudes that'll treat them well because they put them in the friend zone. Because if you ask them and say, hey, Do you got a guy that you know that'll treat you right, but he don't got the swag or the personality, and you friends on him? I just posted a survey yesterday where 70-some% of the women said yes. 70% of the women said yes, there is a man like that. They know who these here type of these Russell Wilsons are, but they are more attracted to the futures. Come on.
Yeah.
They're
attracted to because Mr. Swag.
Yeah. Like, because that's attractive. He got the swag, he got the personality, he got the looks. Dude over here, he wears Skechers. He wears Velcro Skechers and Dockers. And he talks really, really proper. And they don't like that in our community until they get older or out of shape.
Too late.
Or got some kids from somebody else. Then they come online and say, I'll take a Russell. I want a Russell now. But they really don't want them then. They just want a thug. They want
the money. They want the money. They want to be with a celebrity. They want to do this worth hundreds of millions of dollars, etc., so they can live the lifestyle to be able to shit on everybody else on Instagram. But see, that's the reason why I couldn't be with somebody that's materialistic or has that type of vision, because it's not conducive for a long-term relationship. You know, even if I was rich and famous, I wouldn't want a chick that's focused on living a rich and famous life. Like, so, I don't know, but I guess that's a privilege that comes from having success with women. Because it's really hard to wrap my mind around like 60 like dudes that just don't have no shot at getting no pussy. Like, man,
hey, man. Some people ain't. Some people ain't got it, man.
Like, some of those stuff is correctable. Like, we talk about all the time. Like, okay, you can change the way you dress. You know. You can go get a shape up every week. You know, find you a good barber to go to. You know, smell good.
Because I know dudes that have been successful, tall, short, fat, ugly, broke. Like, there are some ugly dudes that are very successful with women because they know how to make them laugh and they know how to, you know. Man.
Confidence will take you a long way. Confidence and a little money. Now, if you ain't got no confidence and you around women and you shy guy, they ain't gonna like you. But I want to make this clear too. Men pick terrible too. We pick terrible out here in the dating world, man.
It's looks and sex.
Look good. Yeah. She look good. How many single dads you know where they got kids and then they like, man, I couldn't marry her or whatever, but she look good. Because we pick off of looks and you know how she smells.
And another thing, most children that are created are by accident. Like, I'm the only person that I know that like planned their first child. Like, most people that I know, it was an accident. They slipped up. She kept the baby, whatever the case may be. Like, most pregnancies are accidental in our community, and unfortunately.
Terry, how exactly, like, did you plan the pregnancy? Did you say, okay, you know, fourth year of marriage, we'll conceive a child? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, we wanted to wait a couple of years to actually enjoy just us in the household or whatnot. And so we were still getting pressured. Everybody kept asking about it or whatnot. But our fifth year of marriage is when we started trying. It took long. It was actually like trying to plan a pregnancy is hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, when a woman's checking her ovulation calendar and we got to do it tonight. And like, it puts so much pressure on you to have sex that it kind of ruins the sex during that period. But it took us about 6 or 7 months before she actually got pregnant.
Really?
But she had been on birth control for a long time and all that. So yeah, we talked about it. We had the nursery ready. We had already, you know what I'm saying, like, put the money aside and actually planned it out. But we were the only people that I knew that were married as young as we were. So
I never thought about that, man. I didn't plan neither one of my little bastards. Neither one of them. Neither one of them. My pullout game is just weak. I'm not even gonna lie. That last hump. There's always that last hump. No.
Man, listen. If the times I rolled the dice there, if I even felt it, I'll pull right the fuck out, man.
Yeah, man.
That was my first time, man. First time got a kid out of it.
All right, man. Look like we up against the clock, fellas. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna be getting into tonight's topic, stay in your lane, where we're gonna be discussing masculine and feminine energy and why they're both vital to a healthy relationship. You are tuned in to the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a minute. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. Tonight's episode is titled Stay in Your Lane. We're talking about masculine and feminine energy and why they're both vital to having a healthy relationship. So the first thing that I want to talk about, I wanted to ask both of y'all is, do y'all think that femininity is something that, or masculinity is something that has to be taught to a specific gender, or do you think that's something that just comes naturally?
I think that it's something that has to be taught because we see that with a lot of our boys, that if they're raised with a single mom, just a mom, that they tend to be more feminine and exhibit more feminine behaviors. That's also known within the prison system, where 70% of the men and boys in prison were raised without a dad because, you know, a lot of them don't know how to control their emotions, kind of like a lot of women do. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but a lot of women are, you know,
just
loose with more
respond to their emotions. Yeah.
But the problem is that for men, we also have aggression. Aggression and testosterone mixed with uncontrolled emotions is a dangerous mix. That's why you get so many. That's why you get so many dudes in jail. So without having that dad or that man there to teach them to be healthy and masculine and exude masculine behaviors like control with their aggression, control with their anger, control with their feelings, that turns bad. Or, you know, even on the feminine side, when you see boys more feminine with their mom, they walk a certain way, or they switch, right, or they sit a certain way. Because I'm just saying, they learn this from being around their mom and women all day. This is something that has to be taught by a man, just like femininity has to be taught by a woman. I can't be feminine and show a girl, you know, right, what it means to be a woman. So I think it has to be taught.
No.
What about you, Jay?
I'm with SD. I think those things got to be taught because I'm like this, right? A woman can't teach a boy how to be a man, and you know, a man can't teach a girl how to be a woman or how to be feminine. So I think those things got to be taught, but taught by the same gender. And not only that, I would say got to be taught by a competent woman and a competent man. Like,
I think you have to at least see it modeled. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough to be raised in a household where there was a masculine man present. Even though my mom wasn't married to him at the time, it was my sister and brother's dad. So he was able to raise me through like 4 to 11 or something, to where he taught me how to wash dishes, cut grass, do different little stuff. And just seeing a man get up and go to work, and everything that he had to do was centered around, nah, I can't do that because I gotta have these responsibilities to take care of. So I agree. I think it's a societal thing, though, you know, because the things that you see on TV and media have a big role on it as well. We always bring it up, like the Cosby Show, even though it's a very old show, it really resonated. I wanted to live that type of lifestyle where I lived in a nice house, and it was, you know what I'm saying, like I could afford to do things with my children and whatnot. And so I didn't necessarily know that that was a masculine thing, but I do agree that it is something that I learned by observing.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just just like, you know, a boy being raised in a single mother household, you know, being taught, he sees emotions through his mom or even his grandma. So a lot of stuff he's going to handle is going to be emotional and doesn't know how to handle things with logic. And as a man, you shouldn't be ran by your emotions. You're supposed to be ran by logic. Go ahead, SD.
But see, I would think a woman would know that she has to have a male role model in it, a coach, an uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like some men have to be involved with this little boy. But you're right. There are a lot of women that have a negative view of masculinity in men because of their heartbreak and bitterness towards their exes.
Just before you go, just a quick question, fellas. Don't you see a lot of this where a lot of women masculize, teach their daughters masculinity and kind of effeminize the sons in some of these single mother households?
Absolutely. That's from slavery days, bro. Like that's where a lot of it come from, man, because the men were buck broken, right? In front of the women. So the women taught their boys not to be the strongest, the biggest, and all of this stuff back then, right? But the women had to get out there and do things and work. So now it's the same thing. We see the women coddle the boys. Oh, this is my baby. This is my baby. All right, they do things for him, and they
pay his car note.
Yeah, they do things, man, and coddle them. So now today, you got the women. What do they say online? The men are more what? They're more sassy or feminine, right? Well, that's because most of them are being raised just by women. They're being raised by the same women that's complaining about it.
Well, women also, they use that same rhetoric to try to attack or hurt men. Like, they'll try to say anything you do. Oh, you're gay. You're responding to a woman on social media. It's like, well, that's the whole point of social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anything a man does that a woman either has a problem with or wants to shame him about, they'll always go to that it's gay or feminine, even though that may not be accurate.
True. But you know, in this here context, I'm not really talking about the shaming part of it because they don't like something like that. Like we just, you know what I'm saying? We talking about this how these here dudes, you know, they want to go 50-50 on dates, bro. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be providers. Or they out here, you know, putting hands on women because they getting rejected or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. The feminine behavior of being so reactive to their emotions and not knowing how to control themselves and think reasonably.
In their feelings.
Yeah, in their feelings more and more reactive to that. And doing things that they shouldn't be doing as men to women especially. So that's what I mean, not just, you know, like responding on social media and all that, because we know that a lot of women do that. I get it all the time. I'm sure you do, you know, where they call you names and stuff just for replying back to them. But this here is just about how boys are raised nowadays in our community more than any. Think about it like this, right? A strong masculine black man, like let's say Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving was ostracized for standing on whatever, or Kanye just standing on whatever, being masculine men. But other men, Lil Nas X, they put him out there. Hey, come on, this is y'all want to be like, yo, this here, give them high fives and praise that type of behavior for us.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely an LGBTQ push because it's in all the shows, you know, like, so we definitely can. Right.
Where your masculine fathers, man? Like back in the day. I'm sorry. Like back in the day with all the shows we had, Family Matters, Cosby,
they don't have them.
Fresh Prince, My Wife and Kids. All these here black dads that were masculine men. You don't.
Well,
have
I'll take that back.
Also,
I'll give props. I don't know if y'all watched Bel Air, the new Fresh Prince remake. The Uncle Phil on there is masculine. I'll say that.
But you gotta have a network to get that. You got to have a network to get that. I'm talking about on primetime TV, 5, 7, 9, 12, Fox, or whatever. But every show that was primetime for black people had a gay black man on it. They had a gay black dude on it. On what's the one with Empire? Empire, they had one. You know, think of the black radio stations. A lot of them had a gay or the LGBT community represented in the black radio stations. And now in the music, the women doing their thing with each other. And then you got other musical people coming out like that. So
black
so I wanted,
but not owned by black people. I'll leave that, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, let's keep the conversation going. So I wanted to ask y'all, what are some of the ways that y'all can identify a feminine woman? What are some of the specific behaviors that y'all look for?
Man, I look and listen for how a woman dresses, how she carries herself, how she speaks, how she sits, all of those types of things, man, because how she is around other people. Because a feminine woman, when she around other people, she gonna be reserved. She gonna be sitting there and she, you know what I mean? And she'll talk. It ain't that she can't talk.
In the cut.
But when she talk when it's, I don't want to say appropriate, but you know how a more modest, reserved woman carries herself. Not like a chick that want to be the center of attention and she twerking in the restaurant, right? That's not being a feminine woman. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I mean at all. She wants to be the center of attention, or, you know, if somebody is talking, she's overbearing and stuff like that. A woman that's more reserved and feminine, she's gonna know how to respond to men, talk to men, carry herself around men. And those are things that I look for, where she could be sexy but not trashy looking.
Not a thought.
Yeah, where she could be sexy and it exudes. When she walk in the room, you like, yo, what's up with shorty? You know, it's just her aura.
What about you, Jay?
First things I look at, number one, how does she carry herself? Is she sweet? Is she nurturing? Is she welcoming to somebody, right? Not somebody who's combative, you know, wants to be right on, or feels the need to be right all the time when you're having a conversation. Like, that's not feminine. That would mean more so masculine. So those are things that I would look for as far as a feminine woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those are the type of things, like, you can tell by how she treats others. How, like, you know, like I say, when a guy's dating a woman over time, he observes her in different settings. So how a woman handles, like, a household function at your crib. You know what I'm saying? Is she helping clean up? Is she helping, you know what I'm saying, facilitate the evening? Is she, you know what I'm saying? Like, is she naturally doing her role, or is she getting fucked up? You know what I'm saying? Like those are two different energies and two different types of women. So, you know, I wanted to get y'all's opinion, because y'all are still out here on the dating market.
Yeah, and being loud and belligerent, and as people, men and women, we have both. As men and women, we have both masculine and feminine energies, right? But the thing is that as a man and a woman, if you veer too much in the opposite direction, it's going to be seen as masculine.
It's problematic.
Yeah, people are not going to like a man that's overly feminine. You know what I mean? Just like men don't like women that are overly masculine, that are aggressive, that are combative, that are unpleasant, that aren't passive and aren't nurturing, or whatever the case. Most men typically don't like those women because we view them as masculine. And it's the same in reverse. If a man is really passive, right? He's not a protector or any of that. He's just like, no, I don't want to do that. Most women gonna be like, no, this ain't the guy, because he's too much in his masculine energy. So there is a healthy balance that you have to have. You know, like a man, you have to be able to be intimate with your woman, not just on a physical level, but on a mental level also. You also have to be sensitive to your woman's femininity. You have to be, in order to relate to her, to make sure you ain't doing too much to hurt her feelings and different things like that. So you have to have a healthy balance between with your masculinity and your femininity, your feminine energy as a man, and then the same in reverse as a woman, because most men and most women are attracted to what we naturally are. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to put a question about it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask y'all, what do y'all think is the difference between femininity and sexuality. Because when I see this discussed online on social media, a lot of women feel like they're being feminine when they're exuding sex or when they're relishing in their sexual nature.
Well, being feminine to me is like just basking in the qualities and the traits. If you look at the definition, it's like the traits that are associated with women, right? So you're talking sensitive, passive, submissive, receiving, cooperative. Those types of things are associated more with women. So when I think of femininity, I think of a woman that's perfecting those particular traits. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
The sexuality part is perfecting other traits of a sexual nature. You know what I mean? That's what the difference is to me. Like passiveness, cooperativeness, submissiveness, it's not sexual. Other sexual things, of a sexual nature, to me is how a woman gets into her sexuality. Because you could be into your sexuality and kind of sexual as a woman, but you can still be masculine when it comes to your attitude and your behavior. So, that's just the way I feel about it. What about you, Jay? What you think?
No question. For me, being feminine, that's somebody who's inspiring, cooperative, can compliment a man and everything, right? Can you take the man from here to here? And I say that's a feminine quality. Like sexuality, that's somebody that's half naked on social media, twerk videos and things of that sort. That's exuding sexuality.
Not necessarily, but it don't have to be that. It could also be a nice woman that's got on a sexy dress where she covered, but it's fitting.
Right.
Because I was gonna say, because a lot of times a woman could have on like loose clothes or some pants or some slacks that are loose fitting, and you could still, I can still tell if she's fine or not. But you don't have to show everything to be sexy or to get a man's attention.
For example, you could be sexy and look feminine. Let's just say, summertime, hot summer day, you in a sundress. That's sexy and feminine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But if you're wearing, let's just say, a tank top and some pussy cutter shorts, and you got the camel toe showing, that's sexuality.
I guess you can say that. But when I realized that you could be sexy, that a woman could be sexy, man, without doing all that. When I seen some of these women in these hijabs, and I'm talking full, all you see is their face. All you see is their face, and they cover these. A lot of the Muslim women wear that, and they be fine, man. They be fine, and sitting there talking, and I'm like, man, I need to put this bacon down. Because shorty bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my point is, I know I'm joking, but I'm just saying, like, you can exude sexuality or your femininity without being out there like social media and music videos, and the female rappers are making it seem like, we come out half naked, we got our titties out, we got all this stuff out, and this is us in our feminine nature and in our sexuality. Like, no, this is what hoes do. This is what hoes do. This ain't what women that men want a wife do. Like I said, you never seen Sierra doing that before she got wife.
Nope.
Never. So it's what it is.
I wanted to ask y'all, man, why do y'all think feminine energy or women behaving in a feminine way is perceived so negatively by women of this generation? Because every time I see a woman talking about nurturing or catering to a man, there's a lot of, she's a pick me, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of backlash to those type of women. Why do y'all think it is?
Because a lot of these women don't understand the true power of femininity. That's why. They don't understand the true power that they actually have. They view it as weak, as a doormat, as somebody you can just
a slave
or a maid and do everything that a man say. They don't understand the power that they actually hold. They can move that man like a chess piece with their femininity. If they really bask in their femininity, they can move a man like a chess piece, eating out the palm of your hand. And they don't understand that. So they try to convince all the other women that it's weak and to be more combative and to be more unpleasant and all of these here different things, then
misery loves company.
Yeah, because they can't get a man, so they don't want you to have one either. So they make it like it's soft or something like that. So and the flip side, they make it like masculinity is toxic. Yeah. Toxic masculinity. A manly man that stands on his principles, that's toxic masculinity. He only wants a woman to cook and clean at the house. But in the meantime, they want a man to provide and protect in the house. Crazy. So, but they never call him a slave, even though he's going to work and providing for them. So it's a mind game. That's why, as a man and as a grown man and as a grown woman, you got to stand on your own thing and have your own mind and think on your own. Because these people out here, a lot of society will have all of us thinking that there's something wrong with being masculine and that there's something wrong with being feminine, when we know
they both need it.
Those two things go together like yin and yang, like peanut butter and jelly, like ham and no burger. It go together, right? So we have to have these two things. Stop letting social media and outside people dictate to you what you know has worked for centuries. Because what we see now obviously ain't working in the dating world, right?
Not at all. I'll say this. I think it's a mixture of society for the better part of the past 30 years, plus the feminist movement where they push, hey, we're equal, we're just like the man. You don't need a man for nothing. Especially in our community specifically, right? We've heard songs, things in the media, shows such as, Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer, Maury, the list goes on and on. We have a whole laundry list. So I think they push that over time to not need a man for that. So now what, in this day and age, when women are pushing femininity, they're saying, oh, you're a pick-me. Oh, this isn't the 1950s. You're not a slave anymore. And
yeah, man. Well, hopefully, with the awareness and the discussion points, man, I hope people, specifically the women, start to embrace their femininity even more. Because I think that will ultimately improve their dating experiences. It look like we up against the clock, man. We about to get up out of here. Before we do, man, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. JSD, man, I appreciate y'all linking up with me so we can get another episode on the books. This has been another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.